Did you know scientists were able to help some tiny worms live like 20% longer? And the secret weapon, ketones. Today we're diving deep into this whole world of ketones, what they are, and why they're causing such a buzz these days. And of course, most importantly, how you can maybe tap into some of their potential benefits.
Yeah, it's really exciting because ketones aren't, you know, they're not some strange chemical concoction. They actually occur naturally in our bodies.
Okay, so my body's already making these ketones,
hmm
but what exactly are they?
Well, you can think of ketones as like an alternative fuel source for your body, especially your brain. You know how our bodies usually run on glucose from carbs?
Right?
Well, when that glucose is low, our liver steps up and starts producing these ketones from our stored fat.
Oh,
It's
interesting.
like having a backup generator that kicks in when the main power goes out.
So it's like my body has a secret weapon for when I decide to,
Nope.
skip that extra slice of cake.
Exactly, yeah.
That's pretty cool. But what makes these ketones so special compared to, just regular old glucose?
Hmm. Well, imagine getting more miles per gallon with your car.
Okay.
That's kind of what ketones do for your cells. They're much more energy efficient than glucose,
Okay.
meaning you can get more energy from the same amount of fuel,
Wow.
plus they don't lead to those energy spikes and crashes that you get with sugar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Uh,
I'm all for more stable energy levels. So does that mean ketones can help with those like dreaded afternoon slumps?
Quite possibly, yeah. A lot of people report feeling more energized and focused when their bodies are primarily using ketones for fuel.
Interesting.
And this is especially beneficial for your brain since ketones can easily cross what we call the blood-brain barrier
Okay.
and provide neurons with a very efficient energy source.
So it's like a supercharged energy drink for my brain.
In a way, yeah, you could say that. And beyond just the energy boost, ketones also help stabilize blood sugar levels, which is fantastic news for anyone watching their weight or managing diabetes.
Right.
It's all about avoiding those sugar highs and lows.
Now let's talk about this fascinating worm study that you mentioned. A 20% longer lifespan that's huge. What's the connection between ketones and longevity?
Yeah, so while this study was on, a type of roundworm called C. elegans,
Okay.
the results are really intriguing. It appears that ketones can actually help protect cells from damage, almost acting like a sort of cellular repair crew.
Oh, wow.
And when our cells are healthier, we're healthier overall. And that could potentially lead to a longer lifespan.
That is fascinating. So
Yeah.
how do we unlock this ketone power? I've always associated ketones with the ketogenic diet, which, to be honest, sounds pretty restrictive.
Yeah, you're right. The keto diet is one way to increase ketone production, but it's not the only way.
Okay.
And it may not be the healthiest for everyone.
Yeah, the thought of giving up bread and fruit forever makes me cringe a little.
Yeah.
So is there a way to get these amazing ketone benefits without going full-on keto?
Absolutely. There are several alternative paths to explore. Remember how I mentioned the liver produces ketones when glucose is low?
Right, yeah.
Well, one approach is to use what are called exogenous ketones, which are essentially ketone supplements. You're basically giving your body a direct boost of ketones
Okay.
without having to drastically change your diet.
So that sounds like a shortcut to ketosis. What are these exogenous ketones made of?
The most common type is called beta-hydroxybutyrate, or BHB for short. It's a ketone body that our liver naturally produces.
Okay.
And it's available in a form that your body can easily absorb. You can find it in various supplements.
So instead of forcing my body to make ketones, I can just supplement with them directly. That
Hmm.
seems a lot easier, but is it safe?
Well, like any supplement, it's important to use exogenous ketones responsibly and talk to your doctor before starting, especially if you have any, underlying health conditions.
Right.
Some people might experience some mild side effects, like some digestive discomfort when they first start taking them.
Okay.
But starting slowly and gradually increasing the dose usually helps.
That makes sense. It sounds like there's more to this ketone world than just the keto diet. Are there any other ways to boost ketones naturally?
You bet. Remember, it's all about nudging your body towards using fat for fuel instead of relying solely on glucose.
Okay.
One way to do this is by incorporating more resistant starch into your diet.
Resistant starch. That sounds familiar. Is that a special type of carb?
It is. It is. It's a type of fiber that resists digestion in the small intestine, so it ends up fermenting in your colon.
Interesting.
And this fermentation process leads to the production of what we call short-chain fatty acids.
Okay. And how do those fatty acids relate to ketones?
Well, these short-chain fatty acids, particularly one called butyrate, can actually be used by the liver to produce ketones. It's like providing your body with the building blocks for its own ketone factory.
So by eating foods rich in resistant starch, I'm indirectly supporting my body's ability to make ketones. That's a pretty neat trick. What kind of foods are we talking about here?
You can find resistant starch in foods like cooked and cooled potatoes, green bananas, plantains, beans, lentils, and even oats.
I love that these are all everyday foods, not some rare exotic ingredients.
Exactly.
So we've got exogenous ketones and resistant starch. Any other players in this ketone boosting game?
There's another natural compound called mangiferin that's showing real promise.
Okay.
It's found in mangoes, and it's been shown to stimulate the liver to produce more ketones.
Mangoes and ketones. Sign me up.
It's definitely an exciting area of research.
This is all so fascinating. It's like we're uncovering this whole new way of thinking about fuel for our bodies.
Exactly, and it's not just about energy, it's about optimizing your health and well-being on a cellular level.
This has been a fantastic overview of ketones and the various ways we can harness their power, but I have a feeling we've only just scratched the surface.
You're absolutely right. There's much more to explore.
Stay tuned, listeners, because in part 2, we'll dive even deeper into this world of exogenous ketones and how they can be used to support some specific health goals. It's going to get really interesting.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the world of ketones.
I'm really excited to dig a little deeper into these exogenous ketones. They seem like kind of a game changer, especially for folks who can't or don't want to follow a strict ketogenic diet.
Yeah, they certainly open up a lot of possibilities. Remember, exogenous ketones are basically just ketones that we consume from an outside source, like a supplement,
Okay.
rather than relying on our bodies to produce them.
Right, like a shortcut to ketosis.
Yeah.
We talked about BHB supplements being the most common type. Why is that?
Well, BHB, or beta-hydroxybutyrate,
Right.
is one of the primary ketone bodies that our liver naturally produces. And the great thing about these BHB supplements is that they're, readily absorbed
Yeah.
and can elevate your blood ketone levels pretty quickly, often within an hour of taking them.
Yeah. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So if our bodies can already make ketones, why would someone choose to use these exogenous ketones?
That's a great question. There are several reasons why someone might opt for this approach. First and foremost, exogenous ketones offer a convenient and efficient way to achieve ketosis without the dietary restrictions of a ketogenic diet.
Right.
Not everyone can or wants to, drastically cut carbs and increase their fat intake.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, especially for those of us who enjoy a slice of bread or a piece of fruit now and then.
Exactly. Exogenous ketones allow you to experience the benefits of ketones without completely overhauling your eating habits.
Okay.
Plus, they can provide a really quick boost of energy and mental clarity, which can be helpful for athletes, busy professionals, or anyone who just needs a little extra focus.
Speaking of athletes, I've heard that exogenous ketones might be able to enhance athletic performance. Is there any truth to that?
There's definitely some interesting research emerging in this area. Some studies suggest that exogenous ketones could, improve endurance and reduce recovery time after strenuous exercise.
Interesting.
The thinking is that by providing this alternative fuel source, exogenous ketones can help delay fatigue and optimize energy utilization during workouts.
That's fascinating. So if I were training for a marathon, for instance, exogenous ketones could potentially give me a competitive edge.
It's a possibility, but more research is definitely needed to fully understand the impact of exogenous ketones on athletic performance and, determine optimal dosage and timing for different types of activities.
Right, right. I'm curious about the effects on brain function. We talked about how ketones can be a super efficient fuel for the brain.
Yeah.
Do exogenous ketones offer similar benefits?
That's a hot area of research right now. Some preliminary studies suggest that exogenous ketones might be able to enhance cognitive function, improve memory,
Wow.
and potentially protect against age-related cognitive decline and neurodegenerative diseases.
Wow, those are some pretty significant potential benefits.
It's quite exciting. It seems that ketones, whether produced naturally or supplemented exogenously, might play a really crucial role in supporting brain health and function.
This is all incredibly promising. But are there any potential downsides to taking exogenous ketones? What about safety and side effects?
Yeah, that's an important question.
Right.
And as with any supplement, it's really crucial to use exogenous ketones responsibly. And be aware of potential side effects.
Right.
The most common side effects tend to be, gastrointestinal,
Right.
things like diarrhea or stomach upset.
Okay.
And this is usually due to the high concentration of ketones. And it often occurs when people, first start taking them.
So like anything new, our bodies might need a bit of time to adjust.
Exactly. Starting with a lower dose and gradually increasing it as your body adapts can help mitigate those initial, digestive discomforts.
Okay.
It's also important to stay properly hydrated and consider supplementing with electrolytes, like sodium, potassium, and magnesium, since ketones can sometimes affect electrolyte balance.
That's good advice. So it's not as simple as just popping a pill. There's some nuance to it.
Absolutely. It's always best to consult with your doctor before starting any new supplement, especially if you have any, pre-existing health conditions or are taking medications. They can help you determine the appropriate dosage and monitor for any potential interactions.
Right, good point. I think a lot of people associate ketones with weight loss. Is it as simple as taking exogenous ketones to shed those extra pounds?
That's a common misconception, unfortunately. While ketones can definitely play a role in weight management, they're not, a magic bullet.
Right.
Exogenous ketones can help suppress appetite and increase energy expenditure, both of which can contribute to weight loss.
Right.
But they really need to be part of a comprehensive approach that includes a healthy diet and regular exercise.
So it's more about incorporating exogenous ketones into like a healthy lifestyle rather than expecting them to do all the work.
Exactly. They can be a valuable tool, but they're not a substitute for a holistic approach to weight management.
Okay, that makes sense. Earlier, we were discussing mangiferin and resistant starch as ways to support the body's natural ketone production. Do these play a role in the world of exogenous ketones as well?
Absolutely. In fact, I like to think of them as kind of partners in crime.
Partners in crime, I like that.
When it comes to maximizing ketone levels and reaping their benefits,
How do they work together?
well, remember how mangiferin stimulates the liver to produce more ketones?
Right.
It's like giving your body's own ketone factory a boost.
Okay.
And by incorporating resistant starch into your diet, you're feeding your gut bacteria, which in turn produce those beneficial short-chain fatty acids that can be used by the liver to create even more ketones.
So it's like a two-pronged approach, supplementing with exogenous ketones while also supporting your body's natural ketone production through diet.
Exactly. It's about creating a synergistic effect where both exogenous and endogenous ketones are working together
Okay.
to optimize your metabolic health and well-being.
This has been a fantastic deep dive into the world of exogenous ketones. It's amazing how much research is emerging,
Yeah.
highlighting their potential benefits and various applications.
It's truly a fascinating field, and I think we're just beginning to uncover the full potential of ketones.
I can't wait to see what the future holds. But before we wrap things up, there's one more area I'd love to explore in more depth, the potential therapeutic applications of ketones for some specific health conditions.
That's a great segue into our next segment.
Okay.
There's a lot of exciting research happening in that realm,
Okay.
and I'm really eager to share some of the latest findings.
Stay tuned, listeners, as we delve into the cutting-edge research on ketones and their potential to kind of revolutionize the way we approach health and wellness. Welcome back to the Deep Dive. It's amazing to think that something as simple as, a tiny molecule, like a ketone, could hold so much potential for, improving our health.
It really is remarkable. We've already covered a lot of ground, from the basics of ketone production to the exciting world of exogenous ketones.
Right?
But now I'm eager to kind of explore some of the specific health conditions where ketones are showing, real promise.
Yeah, me too. This is where it gets really interesting. Where should we start?
Well, let's start with a topic that's on a lot of people's minds: weight loss.
Always a hot-button issue. How do ketones fit into the weight loss puzzle?
Well, ketones can be a really powerful ally in the quest to, shed those extra pounds.
Okay.
Remember, they help to curb appetite and increase energy expenditure, making it easier to create that, calorie deficit that's needed for weight loss.
So it's not just about willpower and cutting calories. There's an actual, biological shift happening when our bodies are using ketones for fuel.
Precisely. Studies have shown that people who are in ketosis, meaning their bodies are primarily using ketones for energy, tend to feel less hungry and eat fewer calories, naturally.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I know I've definitely experienced those intense cravings
Yeah.
when my blood sugar's all over the place. So
Yeah.
it's like ketones are helping to stabilize those hunger hormones and kind of break the cycle of cravings.
Exactly. And beyond appetite control, ketones also increase metabolism, meaning your body is burning more calories even at rest.
Okay.
It's like giving your metabolism a little boost.
It sounds like ketones offer this multi-pronged approach to weight management. That's encouraging. But I'm curious, are there other health conditions where ketones might be beneficial, beyond weight loss?
Absolutely. One area that's generating a lot of excitement is type 2 diabetes.
Okay, that's a huge issue affecting millions of people worldwide. How can ketones help in this context?
Well, one of the hallmarks of type 2 diabetes is what we call insulin resistance,
Okay,
meaning the body's cells aren't responding properly to insulin,
right.
the hormone that helps regulate blood sugar levels.
Okay.
This leads to elevated blood sugar, which can have all sorts of negative consequences for health.
So it's like the body's communication system for managing blood sugar is out of whack.
Exactly. Now, what's fascinating is that ketones offer a more stable and efficient fuel source for the body,
Okay.
bypassing that whole insulin resistance issue. When your body is using ketones for energy, it's less reliant on glucose,
Right.
which means less strain on the pancreas to produce insulin
Okay.
and a more balanced blood sugar level.
So ketones are like offering the body a different pathway, a workaround to manage energy without relying so heavily on glucose and insulin.
You got it. And the research is backing this up. Studies have shown that ketone-based diets and supplements can significantly improve blood sugar control and reduce insulin resistance in individuals with type 2 diabetes.
That's incredible news. It's like giving those with type 2 diabetes this like new tool
Yeah.
to manage their condition and improve their overall health. Are there any other metabolic disorders where ketones might be helpful?
There are several. For instance, research is exploring the potential benefits of ketones for non-alcoholic fatty liver disease,
Okay.
NAFLD,
Yep.
a condition where fat accumulates in the liver.
Yeah.
Early studies are suggesting that ketones might be able to help reduce liver fat and improve liver function.
Wow. So ketones could potentially address a whole range of metabolic issues.
It seems so. And the research is expanding rapidly. We're also seeing some promising results with polycystic ovary syndrome, PCOS,
Oh, wow.
a hormonal disorder that affects women, and even some types of cancer.
That's amazing. It sounds like we're just beginning to uncover the, therapeutic potential of ketones.
We really are. But while the early findings are, incredibly encouraging,
Yeah.
it's important to remember that more research is needed to fully understand the long-term effects and optimal approaches for using ketones in a, therapeutic setting.
Absolutely. It's important to be cautiously optimistic and rely on, evidence-based information. Now, we can't talk about ketones without discussing their impact on brain health. It's a topic that's been kind of weaving its way through, our entire conversation.
You're right. Ketones seem to have a, special affinity for the brain.
Yeah.
Providing it with this clean and efficient fuel source
Yeah.
that can enhance cognitive function and protect against, various neurological disorders.
We briefly touched on that worm study earlier,
Right.
which hinted at the potential anti-aging effects of ketones.
Yeah.
What about the human brain? Are there specific conditions where ketones might be beneficial?
One area that's garnering a lot of attention is Alzheimer's disease.
Right.
As you know, Alzheimer's is a, devastating neurodegenerative disease
Yeah.
that leads to memory loss and cognitive decline.
Right.
A hallmark of Alzheimer's is the brain's decreased ability to utilize glucose effectively.
So the brain is essentially starving for energy.
In a way, yes.
Okay.
And that's where ketones come in.
Why?
Ketones can easily cross what we call the blood-brain barrier
Right.
and provide neurons with an alternative fuel source
Okay.
when glucose is scarce.
It's like offering the brain a lifeline, a backup energy source when its primary fuel is compromised.
Exactly. And research is suggesting that this, ketone boost can have a positive impact on cognitive function in individuals with Alzheimer's.
Wow.
Some studies have shown improvements in memory and overall cognitive performance in patients who were given ketone supplements or followed a ketogenic diet.
That's incredibly hopeful.
Yeah.
It's like ketones are providing a way to nourish and support the brain,
Yeah.
even in the face of, such a challenging disease.
Yeah.
Are there other neurological conditions where ketones might be helpful?
Absolutely. There's also some promising research on the use of ketones for Parkinson's disease, epilepsy, traumatic brain injury,
Wow.
and even autism spectrum disorder.
That's incredible.
It seems that ketones' ability to protect neurons from damage and provide this alternative energy source has, really far-reaching implications for brain health.
This has been an absolutely mind-blowing journey into the world of ketones.
Yeah.
It's incredible to think how this, one tiny molecule
Right.
could have such a profound impact on so many aspects of our
Yeah.
health, from weight management to brain function.
I completely agree. It's truly remarkable how versatile ketones are
Right.
and how they're, really revolutionizing our understanding of health and well-being.
It feels like we've only just scratched the surface. I'm so excited to see what new discoveries and applications emerge in the coming years.
Me too. The future of ketone research is incredibly bright. I have a feeling we'll be hearing a lot more about the, amazing potential of ketones in the years to come.
Well, dear listeners, that wraps up our deep dive into the fascinating world of ketones.
Yeah.
We hope you've enjoyed this journey of discovery as much as we have.
Absolutely.
And remember, knowledge is power. We encourage you to kind of explore the world of ketones further
Yeah,
and see how they might fit into your own, health journey.
exactly.
But as always, it's crucial to consult with your, healthcare provider before making any significant changes to your diet or lifestyle.
For sure.
Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and keep exploring the fascinating frontiers of health and wellness.